Good afternoon and welcome to Sports Palava Live. My name is Ken Ochonogo. Our league, our football, our sports club met the prima donna. The best that we have to showcase to the world is the Nigerian Premier League. It is now a Nigerian Premier Football League. Being run by the League Management Committee, otherwise known as the LMC. They were supposed to run the league for 1 year as interim management committee, but now they have not been incorporated into a company and they are running the league for now, which means this is the second season that they are running the league. The league was supposed to start in November when they ruled out the guidelines, the rules that these clubs have to meet before, the minimum requirements that are supposed to meet for them to partake, to be part of the 20 teams that will play the league, both the promoted teams and those which retained their premiership status from the last season. November, it couldn't go on. It went on to January, February, and at the end of the day, resolved that by the 7th of March, the league would kick off, and the league did kick off. But it kicked off without two of the teams, Nembe FC and Giwa, Nembe City FC and Giwa FC. Because these teams did not meet up, according to the LMC, with the requirements. Today we'll go back to look at some of those requirements, if they are realistic. So we're looking at the Premier League licensing requirements for the 2013-2014 season. How realistic are they? Some of these are one of us. You must have a contract. Each of the players must have a contract with the teams. You must have a contract specifying, the relationship between the services you are rendering and then the remuneration that you are getting. Each player, most of these players must sign a minimum of 3 years contract with the clubs. The abolition of what is known, as sign-on fees by the LMC. Full medical coverage. They must undergo medical tests. Your grounds must meet minimum standard. That is the ground in which you are playing your football. And then you must pay your players a minimum of 150,000 naira monthly salary. And you are expected also to have a bank guarantee of 100 million. That 100 million have now been, split into quarters, into 4 quarters, which means 25 million every 3 months you're supposed to meet up with a particular guarantee. Now, at the end of the day, they said 2 clubs have been suspended from the league because they could not meet up with these requirements. And those 2 clubs are actually the only 2 private clubs. But all other clubs owned by governments, the other 18, met those requirements according to the LMC. So we are now looking at those requirements today. Are they too high? Or do we need those to say, yes, if we want to have the minimum standard for our league to compete with the rest of the world, these things have to go on. I'm starting with the protagonist, who says, I do not think so. I do not. He's saying, I do not think so. But first of all, let me hear for the man who says, yes, we need to move forward. Cosmos Akisi.
Wow.
You think so?
Let me go back years back, not particularly related with sports or something. Towards the late 80s, there was this high clamor for private participation in broadcasting. And it was so high because we needed to follow the norms and everything. And of course, in 1992, the military regime then under General Ibrahim Babangida actually did that, but then set up a body to regulate, to license, and to give those who intend to participate in broadcasting, private broadcasting. And that is why we have TV stations, radio stations. Now, there are guidelines that these broadcast outfits have to follow. Now, these guidelines, if you do not follow these guidelines, you are sanctioned. The body, which is the National Broadcasting Commission, would sanction you. And since '92, we've strived broadcast-wise Channels Television is a very good testimony of this fact because there were rules, they followed rules, and that's why Channel Television is a home of news in Nigeria and even in Africa. Same thing goes for this. The league since 1990 has been something that we're not particularly proud of. You've mentioned it, sign-on fees. That is where they used to defraud these players. No good medical facilities, and that's why you see that players faint on the field. The level of play is so appalling, even if we've got talent in this country. The money is even another thing entirely. No player will sign a contract, and that is why many of them enter into some sort of slavery. And you're saying, and a body comes together and say, okay, we want to sanitize this league. And they brought in a standard that you get from every country that are very serious about developing football in the country. Great standard. And you're trying to say that it's not right or something. As far as I'm concerned, the LMC are right in this one. So people should be giving them kudos instead of giving them the stick. That is what I think.
I call him the prof. Humphrey Njoku. People should applaud the LMC, not giving them the stick. Do you believe that these conditions, these requirements, are too far off, unrealistic?
Yeah, LMC is actually getting the kudos. Nobody is vilifying them. People are saying, yes, there should be a departure. And we have done it severally the same way, and this is where we are.